Okay, you heard the sound, so it's time for Eric and Robin Gagnon, restaurant brokers, to handle restaurant reality. And we have had a great show today talking with folks about jobs. And let's take a minute and go back to some statistics we discussed earlier. The National Restaurant Association hands out fabulous information each year, and their recent research shows, Eric, that half of all adults have worked in the restaurant industry at some point during their life, and 1 in 3 adults got their first job experience in the restaurant. Is it any wonder then when someone is displaced later in life or they're looking to make an investment in a career, they kind of fall back on something that's familiar to them, like the restaurant industry?
It is. And in our book, Appetite for Acquisition, that Robin and I co-wrote, we come up with 10 different type of restaurants owners. And these type of people were interested or are entering or re-entering the restaurant industry for various reasons. And we got some profiles. Robin, can you tell us about the first profile that we discussed here today?
Okay, my favorite and first on the list is the folks who call me on Friday afternoons. We refer to those in Appetite for Acquisition as the corporate refugee restaurant wannabe. They've had a tough week at work, their boss has been on them for one reason or another, and they say, get me out of here. You know what? I think I want to go in the restaurant business.
Yeah. More specifically, you in your cubicle whispering, not loud, that your boss cannot hear you, and talk to us and say you'll call us back on Saturday. We will answer the phone on Saturdays, by the way. But we're talking to you, somebody that did that in college or had some fond memories of the industry, but is I guess, displeased with their current situation at work and looking to make a change in their life and better their lifestyles by having their own place.
Okay, we have 10 of these, so we better move on. What's the second one, Eric?
The second one we have, it's the baby boomers, the restaurant Uber consumer.
Okay, now we talk about the baby boomers because they've influenced life all across America. Every time they come through, they're a wave, a population wave that impacts everything. And one thing that happened to the baby boomers that really pushed them into the restaurant industry over the past 5 or 6 years is a lot of them were downsized or had to take early retirement before they were ready, starting with the recession in 2008, and they left with lots of skills, lots of money in 401ks, but no new jobs on the horizon. So they became a huge first group that began investing in the restaurant business. What's another one?
Another one that's interesting is Top Chef Without a Kitchen, one of my favorite. If I had $1 for every time I hear Top Chef coming to us and talking, says, hey, I have investors, I'm ready to go. Eric, what do you have? Robin, what do you have for us to make my own place? Well, let me give you a little bit of advice right here today for the Top Chefs Without a Kitchen folks out there. You have to have these investors sign, seal, and delivered money in the bank before you start looking. How many times somebody comes to your restaurant, love your food, love where you're working, get a couple more glasses of wine in them, and says, you know, if you ever want to go on your own, I'll back you up. And then the next morning they get up and they don't remember anything they said. And a lot of these people are like that, right, Robin?
Yes, and you so get it in writing. And that leads us to another individual who comes to us as a ready restaurant buyer, and that's the person who is going galt in the business of their own. And going galt, that's a reference to Atlas Shrugged, a book that came out actually decades ago, where people see the business of their own as a way that they can have a relatively low cost of entry, and they can minimize their tax consequences from owning their own business.
Another one, unemployed and buying a job. We've seen that recently over 2008, 9, 10. People have a package from their company. They come and say, hey, I have X amount of money. I want to open my own restaurants. I always wanted to do that. This is, somebody that may be a manager in the past or something like that. So they have limited amount of money. They try to look in the marketplace for something that will give them a cash. A lot of times they're just trying to replace income, which could be dangerous because owning your own business is very different than just having a paycheck. So you got to be careful with that group and make sure that you're going there with your eyes wide open.
And those folks who actually are coming into the business from any one of these categories, the reality is it is a tough business. It's glamorous. You see a lot of stuff on TV about folks who are having a ball and drinking it up, and then also serving up some fantastic food, and that is absolutely a part of the business. The other side is the reality of running a business and employing people and covering the shifts when people don't show up, and making sure that you can actually produce every single item on that menu, handle what's going out the door. We talked about loss prevention last week, and handle the books. So sometimes it's just, the reality is it's just not as easy as it looks from the outside. And we're happy to give folks advice, whether they are in the market today to buy a business or whether they're thinking about it into the future, they want to buy an existing business or something new. But, maybe the best thing you can do is invest in our book and spend $25 before you spend several $100,000 and get into a business only to learn it can be a mistake.
Yeah, and one of our longtime broker, Robin, said that years ago. He said, he was talking to a buyer, and I was happened to be in the office at the same time. He said, this is a lifestyle business. If you do not like the lifestyle, just don't buy it because there's a lot of money to be made, or because you see having a good time watching TV and having some cocktails or sharing some food with customers in the restaurant. So be conscientious of that. And just like any jobs that you think about, there's some good and some bad. I mean, believe me, when you ask, we were asked the first day in your restaurant to open the grease trap and see if it's full, it's not smelling very good yet, and you have to do it. But that's part of the job, But also the flip side of it, you're there for somebody's birthday party, somebody's wedding rehearsal party. I mean, you're celebrating with friends, family, and customers at the same time. So, but you have to look at the whole general perspective.
All right, so let's move from that into, okay, you've listened, you've heard about the careers in the restaurant industry, you've heard us give advice that it may not be the time yet, but you still want to get into the business. We have some listings that you might want to take a look at. And for example, a lot of people think that as the restaurant brokers, we only sell restaurants. But that's not 100% true. We also handle food trucks, equipment supply companies, and just this week I signed something very interesting. That's a bartending school. The bartending school is listed for around $79,000. It's been in business for over 2 decades. So if you're someone that loves the industry, but you have small children, or something about your life has changed and you need to take a break from the late hours, this is a great opportunity to get into the business with very high margins. It's in a great location with rent that's only $1,000 a month. So you can actually be in a peripheral part of the business and be very, very happy about that. Eric, you just signed something in downtown Atlanta. Tell me about that.
That's a very exciting listing. I'm excited to talk about it today. It's downtown Atlanta. Nearby, they're going to have the streetcar going in the area. Atlanta, by the way, for those of you not familiar, has the new Skyview, which is actually a giant Ferris wheel. That's a lot of fun. That's driving a lot of people. The new Falcon Stadium is coming down there. The new College Football Hall of Fame is actually also right around the corner from that place. And there's a new Civil and Human Rights Museum that's also being built right around the corner. There's a Georgia Aquarium. You are in ground zero of Atlanta, Georgia. One better situation that you can dream of. And the good news is this restaurant just closed up. So it is ready, full kitchen, full bar, parking deck directly in front of your restaurant. It's about 3,300 square feet. The rent's about $8,200 a month. That excludes everything, including everything. Taxes, insurance, all your extras for your rent. And you come in with your own concept. You're ready to go. And this place actually is for sale for $74,995.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Those who want to be in the bar business, restaurant business, check out our website at WeSellRestaurants.com. That's going to wrap up the Restaurant Brokers Show this week. Remember, our name says it all. We sell restaurants. We will satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a restaurant for business success every week on Talk 920.